The Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leagues Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, BTZD Clothing, and the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast, the Parramatta Times.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is State of Origin time. And look, this is my New South Wales predicted team that will be named on late Sunday night. Now, at the time of recording this podcast, it is a Saturday night after the last game of the round. The last game of Saturday night of round 12. Parramatta and South Sydney have just completed their game. And look, it's State of Origin time. The teams will be named Sunday night, I believe, and there has been a lot of talk about these sides. Every other rugby league podcast that you can think of has brought out a predicted Origin team, so I thought, why not? I'll bring out mine as well and see how close it is to the real deal. Now, if we go back to Game 3 of 2023, and the New South Wales team lined up like this, it was James Tedesco, Brian To'o, Stephen Crichton, Bradman Best, Josh Addo-Carr, Cody Walker, Mitchell Moses, Jake Trbojevic, Damien Cook, RCG, Regan Keppel-Gillard, Liam Martin, Keon Keela-Matangi, Cameron Murray, Isaiah Yeo on the bench, Saifiti, Robson and Clint Gutherson. Now, that probably won't be anything like this team that New South Wales will put out onto the field in State of Origin number 1 in 2024. There has been numerous injuries to this side. Tom Trbojevic, a big one. Mitchell Moses as well went down in round 3 with a fractured foot and hasn't played since the Manly game. And as he was supposed to maybe come back against the Rabbitohs tonight, but that wasn't to be. More than likely may play against the Sharks in round 13, but still have to wait and see. Origin is a funny thing. You never know. Mitchell Moses may be picked as halfback for the New South Wales Blues, or even 5/8 as well, you never know, without even playing a game for 8-9 weeks. So just have to wait and see on that one. That would be a massive ask indeed. But look, I'm going to start off with my side for New South Wales. Game 1, State of Origin team predictions for 2024. And there's been a few positions in this side that have been up with a bit of talk, a bit of conjecture as to who will be filling these spots. And along with Mitchell Moses, Tom Trbojevic, also Nathan Cleary has been out with injury, or is out with injury as well, a hamstring injury. So probably one of the most debated positions in this side to be named has been the fullback position. Now, James Tedesco, he is the incumbent, he is the New South Wales captain, he is the Australian captain, but there also has been a big push for Dylan Edwards from the Penrith Panthers, a 3-time premiership winner, has played in the past 4 grand finals for Penrith, represented Australia last year. That was on the wing in the Pacific Championships. So there has been a lot of push for him to get that spot at fullback. He is the current Dally M leader on the Dally M leader chart for the NRL. And look, he will more than likely be the next one to move into that fullback position once James Tedesco retires from representative football. Now, I have picked James Tedesco at fullback. A lot of people will not agree with me. They will say that Dylan Edwards should be the fullback. And look, he very well may get that spot. I just think that James Tedesco, he is the incumbent captain. He has been playing up and down this season. The last few weeks have been not too bad. I didn't catch the Raiders Roosters game today, so I'm not 100% sure how he went in that one. But I just think he is the current Australian captain, current New South Wales captain. I think personally, now this is just my opinion, I could be way off the mark. I think he will play this Origin series and then retire from representative football, step aside and give someone like Dylan Edwards the crack at fullback in rep football. I think at the end of the year he will retire from Australian duties, so I think this will be his last State of Origin series. Look, he hasn't won that many State of Origin series, and I think, especially over the last 2 years with Queensland winning, I think he will want to have one more shot at winning a State of Origin series as captain. So I think he will be picked, and that is my choice for fullback. Now, to the wingers. Now, there is one that is an automatic lock, and that is Brian To'o from the Penrith Panthers. He is just a stalwart of this side as well. So, along with Nathan Cleary, if he was fit, he would have as Nathan Cleary would have a spot automatic pick in this side. Brian To'o, in my opinion, will also have a automatic selection in this team. I think just his runs from kick returns and the like, he can get the meters and can score tries as well, has played Origin before, and he is just an automatic pick for me. Now, the other wing is one that is up for conjecture as well. There's a few candidates for that spot. We see Zach Lomax playing for St George Illawarra on the wing, some of his best football this season. There's Josh Addo-Carr, who has helped improve the Bulldogs remarkably this season in 2024, as I keep on saying throughout the podcast. And if you've heard me before, I have said that the Bulldogs are probably the most improved side of 2024 so far. So he has contributed a lot to that one. Just trying to think of some other candidates that could potentially fill that other wing spot. There's Daniel Tupou from the Roosters, who has played Origin before, and Joseph Suaalii, who from the Roosters, who is off to rugby union next year. Now, that is an interesting one. A lot of people are pushing for him to get that wing spot. He is a tall player. He knows how to leap in the air, and the Queensland wingers will probably be as tall and very competitive in the air as well. A lot of conjecture about if he does get selected, having signed with rugby union in 2025. A lot of people saying, why would you pick him when he's not going to be there next year? A lot of people are too also saying, why not just pick your best players right now and just win a series this year? So he is in contention as well. Look, I've gone for Josh Addo-Carr. I just think that he's been there before. He may be a little bit shorter in height compared to the Queensland wingers, but I just think he has that experience. He has been there before, and I think he will really relish that opportunity to play State of Origin once again. So my two wingers are Brian To'o and Josh Addo-Carr. Now, the centre combination, that too has been a lot of I guess you could say, debate about who will get those spots. Now, I think one one player who will automatically get another pick in this side is Stephen Crichton from the Bulldogs, the captain. I think just like Josh Addo-Carr, I think Stephen Crichton at the Bulldogs has really improved the Bulldogs this season. Just his leadership in this side, also having won 3 premierships as well, played in 4 grand finals. I just think his experience at the Bulldogs has really shone through, and it's showing on the field, and the Bulldogs are winning games and being more competitive in 2024. So I think he will get one spot in this New South Wales side. Look, the other contenders, Matt Burton from the Bulldogs as well, Bradman Best. Now, he has gone down, unfortunately, with, I think it's a throat injury, so he won't be considered. Clint Gutherson has gone down with an injury as well. Latrell Mitchell, a lot of talk about him, whether he will come back to the Origin fold. He has been playing fullback for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, has had a very, I guess you could say, colourful season this year, has served a suspension, has been in off-field dramas as well. I guess for Latrell, I don't think he will get picked, but he is certainly right up there in contention. Tom Trbojevic is injured, unfortunately. Katoni Staggs is injured. I think this is this season 2024 Origin series is probably the biggest season of injuries that players have suffered that aren't even up for selection. I can't remember another year where this player went down, that player went down, this player... I mean, no fan of rugby league likes to see players get injured, but it just so happens that this season in 2024, it seems to be all the big names, all the Origin players suffering these injuries, and I cannot put my finger on it as to why these injuries are happening. Look, I've gone for one that's probably a little bit out of left field, and people may call me crazy, but I have put Zach Lomax in there. Now, as I said, he has been playing on the wing for St George Illawarra, and he has had some crackers of games in there. He has also played a little bit of centre for St George this year in a couple of games. And look, I just think he has been close previously to being selected for New South Wales. I just think his form this year has probably got him more into contention, and I've put him into the centre position. Look, a lot of talk about Matt Burton potentially getting in that centre position, simply because of his kicking game, and also obviously his utility value as well, that he could probably play anywhere in the back line if anybody goes down. Obviously, he can play in the halves if one of the halves goes down during the game. But I've gone for Zach Lomax in the other centre position. So my back five, James Tedesco, Brian To'o, Stephen Crichton, Zach Lomax, Josh Addo-Carr. Now the halves, they've been a pretty hotly debated position in this side, and look, it all goes around the injuries of Mitchell Moses, Nathan Cleary, and just tonight in the Sharks-Panthers game, Nico Hines, he didn't finish the game, potentially with a calf injury, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. He didn't play, I think it was last week against the Roosters, due to the same thing as well, a calf tightness, I think it was. So interesting to see. He actually went off the game tonight with a HIA, but he passed that. but didn't return because of the calf. So I'm not too sure how serious that injury is. We will just have to wait and see in the coming days after this podcast comes out as to how serious that one is. But he definitely would have been in contention, or is in contention, for either the 5/8 spot or the halfback spot. I think if he does get selected, he will get selected at halfback. That's the position he plays at club level. So I think he will get selected at halfback, and I think he will be told that this will be his team to run around, and the selectors will build a team around him, and he will run that team around, and it will be his team. So this will be his big opportunity to show what sort of a player he is worth. And we all know the story about, I think it was last year, he made his Origin debut in Adelaide, thrown into the centres, a completely foreign position to him, and unfortunately Queensland ran down that edge and scored a try down that edge. So, and Nico had a debut in Origin to forget. So this is a chance for him to put his name up in lights and just show what sort of a player he is. But we'll just have to wait a couple of days to see if he is fit to play. Look, as I said, in Game 3 last year, Cody Walker played in that game. Jerome Luai played in Game 1 and 2. So, look, I've gone for Jerome Luai in at 5'8". I just think he is probably a little bit ahead of Cody at the moment. A lot of people say that Cody is a good selection. I think he got man of the match in Game 3, so he certainly knows how to play at this level, but I just think, and he's got a lot of unpredictability in a game as well, so I think Jerome, three-time premiership winner. This is also a chance for him under a new coach, Michael Maguire, just to show how he can play in State of Origin as well. So, look, I think he will get the 5/8 spot. And halfback, well, Nathan Cleary played Game 1 last year, and Mitchell Moses Game 2 and 3. Both of those players have been injured or are injured, so they won't be selected. And as I said, Nico Hines, he will probably get the position there. Look, who knows? There could be an absolute smoky of a I guess you could call it opportunity, where Mitchell Moses gets selected at 5'8" and Nico Hines at halfback. So, wow, imagine if that would happen. That would be a massive ask if Mitchell got selected anyway to play 5'8" in State of Origin after not playing for 8 or 9 weeks. So, look, is it a chance of happening? Look, it sure is a chance of happening, but I just don't think it will. So, as I said, Jerome Luai, 5'8", and I've gone with Nico Hines. I think he will get named, and he will just have to go through all the motions and see how bad that injury is. Other than that, I'm not 100% sure who you would go for. I think you could maybe... maybe Matt Burton could go into the halfback position with Jerome Luai at 5'8". If that could be an extreme reason, an extreme selection, I guess, but that's something that the selectors will have to keep in mind as to how it's going to happen. Into the forwards, and look, we'll start off with the front rowers, and look, there's another automatic pick in this side for mine, and probably a lot of people as well. Payne Haas, he will be one front row forward selected, and that opens up the door for another selection on the other side. So a few of them that could be selected: Jake Travojevic, Junior Paolo, Regan Campbell-Gillard, Stefano Utokumanu, the Saifidi brothers from Newcastle. Not a lot to choose from for New South Wales there. I've gone for Jake Travojevic. He has done the job there in the past, and as I said, Game 3 last year, he's very good defensive-wise, and look, I think he will partner Payne Haas in that front row. He is an Origin player. He has been there before, so I think he will get that selection there. Now, the hooker position again has caused a bit of a discussion. Look, there's Api Coruscant, Damien Cook, Reece Robson. Last State of Origin series, Api Coruscant played Game 1, Damien Cook 2 and 3. Now, South Sydney haven't been going all that well this season, although they did have a good win against Parramatta tonight, so they're second of the year. So probably not. I mean, the Tigers for Api Coruscant probably haven't had the best of seasons either. They have been in and around games, a few controversies in games as well, but so he hasn't exactly been setting the world on fire. Actually, neither has the Cowboys either. So they haven't been setting the world on fire either. So this is a very interesting position to pick, simply because of, I guess you could say, the form players probably aren't there for New South Wales in this position. And look, I've gone for Api Coruscant. Whether he can play the same sort of football that Nico Hines wants to play, whether he can just do the delivering of passes, maybe a kicking game if need be, but just sort of tone down his game a little bit and try and not be so creative. And I mean, you always want players that be creative if they can see something in front of them. So I've gone for Api Coruscant at number 9. Second rowers, look, second row, New South Wales are pretty strong in that back row position. Cameron Murray, he's injured. Another one on the injured list is Hamoli Olakau'atu, Keon Kolomatangi, Tyson Frizzell, Hudson Young, Liam Martin. So there is a few there. Last year, Tyson Frizzell played Game 1 and 2. Hudson Young Game 1 and 2. Liam Martin Game 3. Keon Kolomatangi Game number 3. So Canberra started off the year pretty well. Hudson Young, he is probably your Origin type of player. Can mix it with the tough ones on the field, and he gained that experience last year, so he could easily be in the equation. Olakau'atu on the edges has been pretty dangerous for Manly throughout last season and this season. I think he's been pretty close last year, but he didn't get selected. So I think his form last year probably maybe warranted it, and he would have been very close to be getting picked. Liam Martin, well, so Liam Martin from the Penrith Panthers just speaks for itself. He could play 80 minutes if needed be, and again, he is of this tackling machine, and he has been there before as well. Being in the Origin arena shows that he thrives in the Origin arena. And look, sometimes he can be the best forward in a losing side, but is a great defensive second rower, can have some great runs out on the edges as well. So my second rowers, I've gone for Hamoli Olakau'atu and Liam Martin. And just to add another bit of Penrith flavour as well, I have gone for... I'll just go straight into it. I've gone for Isaiah Yeo in a lock as well. So, Cameron Murray, injured. Another one on the injured list. So, I've gone for Isaiah Yeo. So, there is a little bit of a, I guess you could say, Penrith theme through this side. But, I mean, you can't blame me, can you? I mean, they've been the most successful side over the last 3 years. So, it just hasn't shown in Origin, though. Origin is a different beast, but I guess you just have to pick the best players. So, I've gone Isaiah Yeo in at lock. And for my bench, now this is always an interesting one here as well, because you got to get your bench right. You got to pick the right players. You got to pick players that could potentially play different positions, play positions that probably they aren't used to, like Nico Hines last year, where he played centre. So you have to play players that have a little bit of versatility in their game, so they can play a few positions if need be. Number 14, I've gone Kerr McInnes. I think he is a tackling machine, and he knows what to do in games. I think he holds a record for the most tackles in a game. I think that was Penrith and Sharks game. I think it was 70 odd, mate. It could have even been 80 or 81 tackles in a game. Now that is just phenomenal, and I think he's a little bit of a versatile player. He could play hooker if need be. Could play back row if need be. Definitely lock as well. So good to have a little bit of versatility there if need be. I've gone for 2 props on the bench. Now, these ones could drive a little bit of controversial selections, I guess, only simply because of their form at their club, and the way that they are going. However, they have done the job before in Origin. They have played there before. And look, when it comes to State of Origin, I think sometimes for some players, I think they just really sort of turn it up and they just go to a different level to their clubs. I don't know what that is. I guess it's the beast of State of Origin. But I've gone RCG and Junior Paulo on the benches, on the bench. I just think that them being on the bench, they can have a major impact when they come on in short little bursts, I guess you could say. As we know, Payne Haas, he can play 80 minutes if need be. He won't play 80 minutes because Origin is just so fast, but he could if he needed to. So I've gone RCG and Junior Paulo in it on the bench. And the other man on the bench there is Angus Crichton as well. Now, some would say they would put Angus in the starting lineup in front of Olakau'atu, and then Olakau'atu on the bench. I've gone the opposite way. I think Angus might have a bigger impact on the bench when he comes on, replacing either Martin or Olakau'atu. Look, he could play centres if need be. He could play lock, second row. And he has been in great form for the Roosters of recent times. Now, some would also say that that's because he's off contract and he's looking for a new contract, but I think he is just enjoying football again after a shaky start to the year due to some personal issues off the field. But now he is certainly killing it for the Roosters and has rushed right back in to Origin selection, into that framework of Origin selection. So my team for New South Wales, and I must state, and because people may or may not know, I am a New South Wales supporter. So, I want to try and pick the best side that I can that would play these Queenslanders and hopefully get the win. So, this is my side, and the beauty of picking a State of Origin side is the fact that it is your side, and there's always great debate about these teams. I have my opinion, you have your opinion, and your team may look completely different to mine. It may look fairly similar. We'll just have to wait and see what the State of Origin selectors pick on Sunday night. But anyway, my side for Game 1, June 5 at Accor Stadium is James Tedesco, and on the wings, Brian Toto, Josh Adokar. In the centres, Stephen Crichton, Zach Lomax. In the halves, Jerome Luai, Nico Hines. Front rowers, Jake Travojevic, Payne Haas. The hooker, Api Coruscant. The back row, we have the second rowers, we have Olakau'atu, Liam Martin, and the lock is Isaiah Yeo. On the bench, Cameron McInnes, RCG, Angus Crichton, Junior Paolo, and the captain will be James Tedesco. So, be interesting to see how close that is. Let's see how close I can get that one, and we'll just have to wait and see what the selectors say. So, anyway, that is my team for New South Wales in Game 1. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please like and subscribe to the podcast, and please leave a 5-star rating and review, and share with your friends and family. I would really appreciate that one. And look, go the Blues.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. See you next